Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Coach Les, and I'm here with Mr. Yarwood from Yarwood's Martial Arts. This is episode number 80, and we are going to be discussing updates for Yarwood's Martial Arts, the studio, the website, personnel, etc., etc., etc. Over to you, Mr. Yarwood.
Yeah, it's been crazy couple months. A lot of changes have been happening. A lot of things have been going on. A lot of new and important things, not only happening at YMA but surrounding YMA. So it's something I thought I'd kind of catch everybody up on and just kind of let them know where we're at. I found that, it probably happens in every business when you stick to the same thing over and over and over again. Eventually, it gets stale, it gets flat, you hit a plateau, things stop moving forward, and eventually it starts to decline, right? And it starts to affect your business. So there's been a lot of updates I've been working on. Actually for like the last year and a half, but the last 6 months or so, it's really been kind of accelerating fairly quickly. One of the things we've started to do, and this actually probably started last fall, but I finally kicked it off about 2 months ago, is we've been doing some partnering with the local schools. And we've kind of talked about this in the past, but we're it's as a business, right? Going into a school as a business, it's immediate rejection, right? They don't want business coming in and doing whatever, trying to get to their kids, right? They're very protective of their kids, and
As they should be.
I fully understand that, right? Yeah. And I have a lot of students that go to this one particular elementary school, and I, with the help of one of my mentors, he has actually talked to me about setting up school partnership, where we're actually raising money for the school while affecting the students, affecting parents within the school, and then affecting obviously our business. So we came up with a plan to actually donate money back to the school for basically having access to the school. So the partnership works that we have a base minimum that we're going to be donating, and then anything over and above that comes from we're going to be doing an enrichment program, an after school enrichment program, where we once a week after school we meet in the gym with students. The parents pay $49 or whatever the cost is, and then 100% of the proceeds of that will go back to the school itself. And then any kid who comes to our school and starts training as a regular student with Yara's Martial Arts, we have basically it's a liaison parent who's been kind of monitoring this whole thing and putting me in contact with the people I need to talk to. That parent, that family that's training with us will get a free month tuition for every referral that starts training with us. So it incentivizes the parent who has kids at that school to help grow the program, grow the after school program, and then in turn grow Yara's Martial Arts. So it's a great way for the parent themselves to be incentivized, right? The school gets funds, we get students, parents get free lessons. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. So we have the after school program. We also do parents' night out events. So like we recently had a Nerf Wars pizza party where we raised money. We take 25% of all the funds that come into that and give it back to the school. So, and it's for that school only. So it's only advertised to that school specifically. It's not even to our own students unless they see it at the school and decide they want to come and do it. So that was kind of a real short timeline for marketing, less than a week, and we still ended up getting 14 people show up to it. So we know there's great potential there if we can really get one marketed, further out, get more interest. We sent a flyer to the coordinator there, and she distributed it to the school. So I didn't have to do anything except create the flyer and send it, and she took it from there. So it was really cool to be able to do that, and be part of that. So we see that there's some power in that as well. And then one of the other programs we're working on is we're doing coming up. Man, it's actually next week, I think. Family Fun Day. Um,
Mm.
we're actually going to have a booth there. They gave us a booth so we can talk to everybody about what we do. They can basically introduce us to the school, to the parents. We'll do some board breaking and whatnot there, and then we also donated um, um, 5 1 month free training to the they have like a silent auction or whatever. So we donated five 1 month free coupons or certificates or whatever you want to call it. So I created a flyer, sent it over to her. She took care of it from there. I didn't have to do anything else, and then we'll just be there. And then whatever money they get from it, they keep 100% of it. So there's donations that way. So that's 3 different ways to do that. And then also will be part of any events that they have, and then any money that comes directly from anything like that will be donating back as well. So we're trying to give back to the school as the partnership. So versus us just being a business that comes in and takes kids out of their school and teaches them at our school and gets all the money, we're actually giving back anything that comes directly from the school. Plus, the parent is also getting some funding from it too. So it's a really cool program. We're working with another school as well. It's a smaller school, setting up the same program. It's just percentages are going to be different because we just base it on how many students they have there. So we'll set that program up with them too. They invited us to their track and field events, end of the year events, and then also the other school too. But we're going to be doing their fall events, the back to school stuff as well. So we're really getting our feet on the ground with this thing and running it and just being part of the community that is part of what we do. So it's super cool to be able to be able to do that and give back to these schools and just help out where we can.
Yeah, I think that the more you can involve community, the better it is for both sides. One, for the school to be able to say that they are promoting health, right? I don't know if you remember the presidential award, used to be for.
Yep, I still got the big coin.
Yep. And they did away with that for whatever reason. To me, this is a way to bring back exercise.
Yep.
Doing what you're doing. And when I discovered you weren't part of that family fun night, I was like, well, wait a minute. You do all these events there. Why aren't you there for this one?
Yep.
So I think the value in this is so much so that you have it built into your testing, right? Say a little bit about the yellow sheet.
Yep. So we have 7 stripes that our students have to earn before they're eligible to test. And one of those is called the teacher stripe, and it's actually on a postcard, and it talks about what the student is doing at our school and the things that they're learning and the things that they're trying to pass on to them when they're in school. They're showing respect, they're having discipline, they're doing their homework, they're doing all that stuff. They bring this card into the teacher, and their teacher signs off on it, and they evaluate the student on the 5 different things that we talk about. Are they being respectful? Are they showing up to class on time? Are they doing their homework? Are they, all those different things? And then that teacher has an opportunity to give us information about how the student is acting based on the life skills that we've been teaching them. And we evaluate them based on what the teacher, part of that is part of what the teacher's response is, right? If the teacher says, hey, this kid's not doing what they're supposed to do, they're not acting the way they're supposed to act, that teacher has a say in whether that kid gets to test or not. So it's not just me or my staff deciding whether kids test or not. One of the things is they have to be doing what they're supposed to do in school. And that has a lot of weight with us. And then the teachers also have an opportunity to invite us into their classroom and come in and do our, basically an enrichment program for them, talk to them about bullying or self-defense or whatever the teacher is interested in us talking to them about. So we get an opportunity to show the teachers and those students in that class what we're doing. And then that student that invited us also gets to participate with us up front, show us how to do everything. So they get to be the star of the show for the day. So it's pretty cool.
Tell me, or tell everybody that's listening a little bit about Lucy's journey, and how people started coming up to her and asking her for advice, and like
Yep.
from being shy and tiny to being somebody that got at.
Yep.
You tell the story, because I don't know it well enough.
She was 5 years old, I think, when she started. She came for her intro class, and she was super excited. She did really well. She did all the stuff. We taught her the moves, the basic moves. She was having great interaction with us, just having a blast, right? So mom and dad, grandma and grandpa decided to get her signed up for classes. She came to her first class and wouldn't even look at the mats. She sat on her, I think it was on her dad or her grandpa's lap the entire time, looking away. She wouldn't engage. She wouldn't do anything. Super shy, nothing. Just sat there. And but they said, hey, this is something she wants to do. She showed interest. We're gonna keep trying. She came back 3 or 4 times, and finally we got her out on the mats. And then from then on, she didn't want to get off the mats. As she grew, we moved her into the big kids class. She started doing things at school because we started adding what we call the purple stripe, which is the community service stripe. And one of the things she did is actually she did a couple different things. One of the things she did was she set up a project for our little dragons. She wasn't in the little dragons anymore, but she set up a project for them where if they do 5 good classes in a row without getting in any problems, having any issues, they get to choose a treasure out of the treasure box. So she put this whole treasure box together, bought all the little trinkets and stuff, and put them in there, and then presented it to us as something to do for the little dragons. She also at school set up a project. There's a student in their school that was in a wheelchair and had troubles getting between classes. So she set up basically what amounts to a mentorship program where kids could sign up and go help this kid get to and from classes, so that they could go push the wheelchair, get him in the elevator, do all that different stuff. So this kid was able to get to class on time. So she set that up as one of her black belt projects. And she also ran for student council in her grade and ended up getting elected to student council. So her parents and grandpa attribute it mostly to what she's been doing in taekwondo and all the stuff she's been learning, and just being inspired by the things that we've been teaching her and taking it basically to the next level. So she's now earned her black belt, and she's learning to become an instructor and all kinds of stuff. So she's pretty influential in our school.
And her mom is now a student.
Mm-hmm. Well, when she moved into the big kids class, her dad joined with her. So her and her dad got their black belts together. And then her mom said that if she got her black belt, then she would start training too. So her mom started training now too, because she got her black belt.
So to me, that's the advantage of this type of community.
Yep.
That's so awesome. Such a great story.
Yep.
And what would you say, if you could sum it up? You have another gentleman who actually works for Cullen's Ice Cream that hit a bunch of roadblocks. Talk about that, and talk about, what he had to manage to go through.
Yep. So we have several requirements for earning your black belt. It takes about a year to do everything to get to the point where you are eligible to test for your black belt. There's several. You have to learn and demonstrate all of your forms to a certain level. There's a weapons form that you have to learn. You have to do community service, either 12 hours or a project. You have to do a speech. You also have to do a fit test and pass the fit test. If none of those, if those, even one of those things doesn't happen, you don't get the test. It's just you didn't meet the requirements. And I think for a little while he wasn't the only one. We had another one that was struggling too. And I think what happens is kids they feel like they can skate through with the bare minimum, and sometimes that comes back to bite them in the butt. And if you're not passing the things that you need to pass, then you don't test. And we had to make that decision for two people. Say, hey, you didn't do what you needed to do. Sorry, you're not testing. And I think they were not necessarily shocked, but maybe a little disappointed that they didn't just get the test because it was their time. It's like you got to compete and finish some stuff. So that happened in January. These two students stepped up their games between January and just this last weekend, and we had our next black belt testing, and they did all the things they needed to do and then some. And this particular student has exceeded all expectations. He's just completely stepped up and in every aspect of his game, and it's impressive to see. It was really I was very happy, very proud of what he did in the last 3 months. So it's been pretty cool to be witness to that. I think it's kind of the reality sank into you don't just show up and things happen. You got to do stuff too. You got to take action. We talk about that all the time.
Yep. And you're either expanding or contracting. So
Yep. So yeah, he's really stepped up his game.
that's awesome. Awesome. And I think I was going to look at your little note here. Talk about Brooklyn Park.
Yeah. So similar to the partnership with the schools, we have a parent who works within the city of Brooklyn Park, Parks Rec Department to be specific, who last fall approached me about setting up some programs with the city of Brooklyn Park's Park and Rec Department and putting some things together for their kids. They run a lot of rec programs for the local kids. Some of them, they don't have access to a lot of things. They even have something called Rec on the Go, where they travel to the kids versus the kids coming to them. So they'll set up, classes or events or whatever in local parks or at apartment complexes, and then all the kids can come to those things versus, they might not be able to have the transportation to get where they need to go. So that's something that he thought I might be interested in being involved in. So we had a meeting with the people who run those programs, and they were all on board with getting something going. They, in the meantime, the city was building a new teen recreation center, a $10 million project. And he's like, I got a space for you. And so once it's done, we're going to get you in here. We're going to start these programs up. We're going to get rolling. And it just had its grand opening last week. I was invited to that, so I got to go and meet all the people who were involved in that, and he was really excited. They had a basketball game, and it's just an awesome place. And once the dust kind of settles with all this stuff, we're ready to rock and roll. We're going to set up some programs, and I've actually talked about integrating into the city, kind of similar to the way we do with the schools, doing some projects with them, being part of their social media, being part of their community ed stuff, doing all that. So we're going to be integrated with them as basically their martial arts school of choice, I guess, for lack of a better term, because we're being run programs for them through the city. And then kids can come and take our classes if they decide that they want to continue and they decide that they want to come and train with us and they join. He will also get the benefit of that by getting free tuition for his family. So it's basically a partnership with the city of Brooklyn Park to set this whole thing up and get the ball rolling with it. So probably within the next month or so, I would say we're probably going to get this thing kicked off and get rolling. So it's going to be exciting, and we'll be able to basically we'll do the same thing we do the schools, but with the city.
And what about the parade coming up?
Yeah, so every year we do the Father Hennepin Days parade in Champlin, and our parents, our students, they wear their uniforms. Parents, walk with us, and we have boards that all the people along the parade route get to break and keep. There's opportunity for them to come and train with us. There's QR codes on it. Last year it was raining and we had like 40 people show up, which was awesome. If the weather is good this year, we'll probably have even more, right? Coach Les had Cullens there. He was handing out ice cream from our trailer. So it was a great partnership with us to do that. And we both represent the city of Champlin as well, because we're both businesses within Champlin. So it was just a great way to reacquaint our businesses with the city of Champlin and just be part of the place where we do business. So it's super cool, and hopefully we'll have we've been pushing our parents pretty hard about getting out there and getting signed up and doing it. So we're hoping for at least 50 people in the parade this year. So it should be pretty cool.
And I think the fun thing for me in that, yeah, sure, it's great fun to hand out ice cream, but it's even more fun to watch the kids interact with kids and even teenagers. Hold that board. Can I kick one? Can I break one?
Yep.
Right? And to have one of our little dragons, and our tiny youngsters that are one step up from the little dragons out there running full speed because they want to do this, and they want to hold the board. They want to help out. They want, and it's so much fun to watch that joy.
Yep. The interaction that they have with the crowd is great. It's great leadership skills. It's great interactive skills. Lots of stuff learning while they're walking in this parade, because they have to go talk to people they don't know, and they do great with it. It's awesome to see it.
Yeah, I love it. So with that, any other updates you'd like to share? Anything else?
Yeah, so we don't say it a whole lot, but our motto is families that kick together, stick together. It even says it right there on my screen. And we've been really pushing hard, getting the parents on the mats. And we've come up with a way, and it's actually been successful already just 2 days into our new cycle. We typically do every May, we do take mom to Taekwondo, bring mom on the mat, celebrate everything that mom does for us, and just do something cool for them and just celebrate them. And we've been doing that every year. And then we also do it for dads in June. So we decided this year to do the whole testing cycle, which just started on Monday. Moms and dads train free. So we give them a uniform, we give them a belt, we get them out on the mats, and they get to train the entire cycle. We'll have the testing form at the end. They can earn their first belt and just kind of give them an exposure to what their kids are doing. It doesn't cost them anything. There's no obligation. They don't have to join if they don't want to. They can be done at the end of 2 months and move on from whatever, right? But the goal is to kind of get them out there and get them exposed to what we're doing, have some fun. And so far we've had 8 parents take us up on it, and it's really cool. So I purchased a bunch of uniforms ahead of time to kind of to plan for it, and we ran out of one size already. So I have to order more. So it's a good thing. So getting them out there, getting them exposed to what their kids are doing. Kids are loving it because mom and dad are out there with them doing all the stuff they've been doing. And I think it's going to turn into a good thing going forward. We'll get a bunch of parents on board and get them training with us. And we'll have even more families on the floor, which is awesome. We've also created an adults only class, 18 and up, so all the parents and stuff can come and train without the kids there, just adults training and having some adult time and having fun with that, so they can kind of get away from, when we teach group family classes like that, there's a certain level we have to teach to, right? And the parents aren't always getting everything that they need as adults, so we created this adults only class so that they can get that extra. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's been pretty popular so far.
Anything else that you could think of to share or?
Yep, we're doing so we have a foundation called the YMA Legacy Foundation, and we use funds raised through that foundation to create scholarships for families who might be struggling financially but really want their kids to be part of what our program has to offer. So those scholarships, we cover anywhere from 3 months up to a year for a whole, for entire year of tuition plus testings for families or individuals. And so we're doing a fundraiser at the end of May. It's an in school tournament, so all of our kids can compete in a tournament on site in our school, and all the funds raised are going directly to the foundation. So it's going to be we've already got several people signed up. It's going to be super fun. It's a great way for kids who are maybe worried about competition or having to travel too far to be able to experience what a tournament is all about, and maybe expose them to that, and maybe create more kids at our regular tournaments. So that's at the end of May that we're going to be doing that, and see what happens. Hopefully, we'll raise a lot of money because we currently have 3 families on scholarship, and the funds are running low, so we need to raise more money so we can offer more scholarships. We also accept donations. If you go to the YMA Legacy, go to ymalegacyfoundation.org. You can donate money if you want to. You can set up a monthly subscription where you donate on a regular basis. And we're a registered 501c3, so any money you get, you can write that off on your taxes. All that stuff, it's all legit. So we accept any amounts.
Nice.
But yeah, we've been pretty active. Lots of things happening, lots of stuff going on. We're trying to get more and more out into the community and just be part of what's going on around us, as opposed to just isolating ourselves within the school. We want to be present and active.
Which I think is good from both sides, right? Some people would say, well, you just have a self interest in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. And you have an interest in having seen what happens when you play that game of giving. It
Mm-hmm.
comes back to you.
Yep.
So it's really great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we had was really cool is I think we may have talked about it in the previous episode, but we had that donation come our way last fall from a source that just reached out and found us and found out we were legit and what we were doing, and they were directly related to Taekwondo, and they ended up donating a huge sum of money to us, to our foundation. So we were able. That's where we ended up giving out our last 3 scholarships. Is that money that we got from them? So that money did a lot of good for some people.
Yeah, it's great. And there are some companies that need to get rid of money. Like
Yep.
they have a budget, and if they
Yep.
don't use it, they lose it.
Yep. Yep. We're working on some working on finding some grants and that kind of stuff for our foundation as well. That's kind of a side project that I have that I've been working on recently. So, yep, lots of stuff going on there too. Busy, 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 but all
Yeah.
good stuff. All good stuff.
Our little light.
Just for me, it just I'm following, practicing what I preach, I guess, is taking action on stuff, making stuff happen. It doesn't just drop in your lap. You got to go create it, stir it up.
Talk a little bit about PTOs, parent teacher organizations, if you have any impact or conversation with them at all.
Yeah, they're the ones actually that I'm partnering with through the schools, because the PTOs, those are made up of the parents, right? Mostly. And the parents have a vested interest in what goes on in their kid's school because their kid goes there, right?
Yep.
But when I set up these partnerships, I have a parent liaison who is part of the PTO who really wants what's best for their kid's school. So I empower them to take it and use that, and they what they do is they take the knowledge of all the people who are doing whatever. They put me in contact with these people. They let me know the schedule of the school, all the events that are happening, all the things I can be part of, and in return, that's where they get the referrals. Any referrals that come in, they get that free month of tuition. So I don't have contact directly with teachers. I have contact with a parent who is part of the school, who puts me in contact with the person who's in charge of setting all that stuff up. So it's not a I don't go in and solicit teachers or principals or any of that stuff. I just talk to the parents in my school and say, hey, could your school use some extra funds? And they're like, well, yeah, sure, right? So we sit down and have the conversation. They're not going to say no, right? They want their kids to have their schools to have more money, and here's an opportunity for them. I mean, sure, I'm not like a government grant where I can give them tens of thousands of dollars, but I can give them, a couple grand, which
Yep.
can go a long way, for PTO who needs money for projects and that kind of stuff. It's a little can go a long way in certain situations. So that's what I offer. And the parents love it. Then the groups love it because that gives them more events for their kids to be doing, to be involved in. Plus, it's good for their kids, right? Something that they're benefiting from. So,
Yep.
fitness and life skills and all kinds of good stuff.
Attention to detail,
Leadership.
getting over the squirrel.
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up tonight. And really just thank you, Mr. Yarwood. Thank you for what you're doing for your part in the community and what you're committed to with people from other schools. I'm trying to think. Well, go to your local city community page and see what's going on.
Yep.
Right, you'll be able to see Mr. Yarwood in both the Champlin Chronicle and on the Champlin Father Hennepin Days web. So,
Yep.
Join in, come and join us. Come down for a concert. Come and eat a little ice cream.
Yep.
Stick around and get a little coaching.
Teach you some blocks and some strikes.
There you go. So thank you for tonight. And with that, I am going to give us our little fun
See ya.
outro. Come on.
Go. Right on cue.